Welcome back. It is the Ben Ferguson Show. Nice to have you with us this afternoon. And corruption in government, city government, and the city of Memphis is, yes, bad. What's going on with these referendums on the ballot shows just how shady, how corrupt the city is. Trying to get 3 terms instead when it's already 2-term is the limit is another example of the shadiness that's going on with the city government. Now, I say all that because, and it just irks me, there was a lot of people that were saying, well, Ben, I mean, this is what happens, and this is why I got out. This is why I moved to, Collierville or Germantown, Arlington, Lakeland. And I'm sitting there and I'm laughing at myself at these notes that are coming in because Germantown, I cannot tell you how bad things are in your government, and you guys have no clue. And I'm saying to you conservatives, what the city of Germantown is doing with apartments makes no sense. And the mayor and the alderman got busted on this just corrupt, I would call it corrupt development. And they got busted, and when they got busted, they then put a moratorium acting like they were stopping the exact problem that they created with more apartment complexes. Now, I'll give you the reason why I don't think Germantown needs apartments. And this goes back to this smart growth thing, which is a liberal agenda that's been rolled out nationwide by hardcore liberal advocates that are saying, go into areas that are traditionally more conservative. And let's roll out this agenda called smart growth, which is nothing more than trying to alter and change the makeup of a city like Germantown. Now, I'll be very clear about my opinion. If I lived in Germantown, I don't. I don't understand why anyone would say that we need more apartments. I don't understand when we have the new school issues that we're having and the opportunity to have really good schools, why we'd want to have a massive influx of people who are not owning property or trying to own property, trying to set up life, who may just want to say, I'll jump into an apartment real quick, and then I will throw my kids in a school that's better than the school where I currently live. And that's what will happen. Now, you may want to do that, and if that's your decision as a citizen in Germantown. I mean, you can do that if you want to. I also don't think that Germantown really needs to change much. And I'm talking about it's a great city with great heritage. Why do I need to fundamentally change what Germantown is? And then the last thing, Germantown is controlled. And I could give you the list of names, but I'm not going to do that because I don't want to deal with 50 phone calls tomorrow. Germantown is controlled by almost, if you just go look at the votes, don't take my word for it. Look at the votes with the alderman. Almost every vote comes down on the side of the developer 3-2. I'm not even going to name names of the aldermen. You go look at the votes. Almost every single one is 3-2. And you have a city administrator that makes more money than the governor. Like, come on, people in Germantown. I mean, there's a lot of conservatives in Germantown that I know well. There's a lot of I would say the majority of my good friends live in Germantown. And this is just an issue of not paying attention. I don't think you're apathetic. Maybe you just don't know. But the city of Germantown is controlled right now by a group of developers that control 3 votes, and almost every vote's 3-2, 3-2, 3-2. The mayor's controlled by he's not controlled by him. He is part of the problem, I would argue, with these developers. And the city administrator is definitely controlled or sees eye to eye with the developers who are systematically, fundamentally trying to change the makeup of your city to a, quote, smart growth program. There's no way that the idea of smart growth, when you have a city that is idolized by almost every other town around you, tells you that it's nothing, I would argue, nothing more than a full-blown liberal idea. That's what I would argue. I would argue it's nothing more than a full-blown liberal idea. 535-9732. Sarah, you are on the Ben Ferguson Show. Thanks for waiting. Go ahead.
Well, Ben, I hate to break this to you, but it's even more nefarious. It's not a matter of conservative or liberal. I've studied this for 11 years, and in fact, smart growth was just a ruse from the very beginning. There was no intention to even go by any of the ideals of smart growth. That really there was a particular developer that wanted to develop a large piece of land, wanted to upzone it majorly, and so they came up with a way to do it, which was an omnibus, many parcels being majorly upzoned. And that was really cover to put this other development through. So,
which, by the way, that
money.
development you're talking about is one of the biggest financial development deals in Germantown in years.
Well, in fact, I'm talking about the one that fell through, that is still undeveloped.
You're talking about the moratorium on, hold on, we're going to stop everything.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about, it was called Saddle Creek 4.
Yes, I do remember that one.
Yeah,
okay.
And that was the whole impetus from this entire smart growth joke, because they just wanted to be able to do a lot more on that property than the office commercial zoning allowed. And so they found this excuse, this method to say, oh, we're not just going to spot zone this. We can't do that. That's illegal. We're going to come up with a plan that covers a whole lot of parcels and do this major upzoning all over the city. They did that, and they put in the code, and then soon after, they began to gut the oversight procedures in the code. So according to the way the code is now, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen doesn't need to necessarily vote on a development. If one of these smart growth developments go through and they adhere completely to what's now the gutted ordinances, and they don't ask for any exceptions or warrants, they're called, then it goes through the Planning Commission, which is totally appointed by the mayor. Mayor Palazzolo even sits on the Planning Commission. All those people are there because they like Mike and Mike likes them.
Right.
And
so people understand most small town zoning boards are usually pretty corrupt because it's anyone that's on there is not going to disagree with the mayor. The mayor appoints you. You're going to do what he wants you to do.
And he'll take you off if you don't. So,
right.
And some have been taken off. But that's the bottom line, is it does come down to the mayor's office. But then if there is a development that wants a bunch of warrants, which are all exceptions to the actual zoning, saying, okay, we'll do the zoning, but then we won't on these particular things, then that 3-2 vote you're talking about for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, that's those three unnamed individuals who will always down the line vote with the mayor and vote for those developments. And that's how it goes.
Anything that the mayor wants, he has 3 votes every single time.
Yep.
Go look at the votes, and that's what I said earlier. I'm not even gonna say names today. Just go look at the votes and look at how many times the same 3 people every single time vote the same way every single time with what the mayor says he wants.
But the city administrator also sits at the pleasure, if you will, of the mayor.
Right.
And Patrick Lawton has been for years, it's been there 30 years now, deeply entrenched. So the kinds of deals that he has managed are unconscionable, quite frankly, but it's been that way for a long time. This is a holdover from Sharon Goldsworthy. That's why they were so desperate 4 years ago
you know what was the most shocking thing about Sharon Goldsworthy after, I think she was a really nice lady. I don't think she had a clue how much she was being taken advantage of, honestly.
Well, you have a higher opinion than I do. I've had enough personal experience that I was shocked by when I saw the mask come down. I was speechless. Literally.
Well, I don't think she likes to be criticized. I mean, I know that for firsthand. But I really think she just kind of like walking in there and be the mayor and show up for certain events, and the city administrator was running that city.
Well, she went right along with it in a very aggressive way, quite frankly. So I just saw enough of what was going on the inside as to realize that there was not any innocence here.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think no one seems to be paying attention to this in Germantown? And I think you would probably agree with me. Most people, I'm not even sure they know who the mayor is. And if they do, they probably think he's doing a great job because the city is in a great place in general. You drive around, things look good, it looks safe. Everybody seems like, oh, yeah, well, we'll just vote for that guy again.
Well, voter apathy is just a lot of people just are kind of, well, they have lives, really busy lives. They're taking care of themselves. They're taking care of other people. They have careers. They're thinking of, what's right in front of them. And it really takes a lot more energy, quite frankly. And I never intended to get involved like this. But once I saw what was going on, I thought, my God, I can't just turn around from this once I've seen it.
Yeah, Sarah, I gotta take a hard break, and I appreciate the phone call. Coming up next, Congressman Marsha Blackburn will join us next. We'll be talking about this intense Senate race against Phil Bredesen. She'll be with us coming up in just a moment on the Ben Ferguson Show, 600 WREC, 92.1 FM.